About a minute early. We'll go ahead and get going. I haven't taken a look at the charts in depth, but I did follow the market yesterday. Made like two trades, and played out pretty close to what we talked about yesterday. So we'll review that a little bit. You can see here I have the open, the market, economic events, and so you can see Friday. A lot going on, but it's all the two heads, right? You got a little bit of U.S. stuff. Nothing that I'm anticipating as far as this goes that will just rock the market. So we'll look at that here shortly. Let's go ahead and flip to the SPY. Let's talk about what we did in the room yesterday. I'm gonna hit it over to regular hours. For those on TikTok, just joining, I am not able to watch comments until about 8:30, so I'll answer any comments after I'm done with the TA for the room. So we're using our Bajak indicators here. I'm going to, for the time being, mute the Harmonic Pro. Gives us a little bit easier way to look at it. So let's talk about the market open. Yesterday, let's find the market open. Right about here, right, is where the market opened. If y'all remember on the TA that I was talking about, you had this double top here. This kind of created a lower high. We did have our zone from the zone tracker. And the key thing, I want to point out here is like what we talked about. I moved that, so let's go ahead and delete it. So let's go ahead and zoom in here and take a look at what kind of how it flowed and how we were reading it, right? So the market opened right here, immediately found some support, right? Shot north, like we talked about. One of the things that I put out in the room, and I think I said it on the stream as well, is that with the market open down here, wouldn't surprise me if we didn't get a push north, because you had some support here, right, in the past areas, as well as I'm sure on the other side as well. So we did get that push, north. Once it reclaimed this support here, it pushed up. It came down. It retested this support area, and that was enough to push us north, right? So this is a key area that we always talk about, which is the retest. So we had our death cross with the 21 SMA on the 2 minute. This is what I trade on when I trade the SPY. And we had our rejection that pulled down. It had a nice little drop. It tried to break the 21 SMA, couldn't do it. Pulled it back down again. You can notice that we found some support off the Bollinger. That pumped us up. Could not claim it even with that, and then bam, down we go. That's how we rode that down. The ATA did an awesome job as far as the calls. Those of you guys in the room, you know that we're working through some stuff with Tasty Trade, but regardless, it was an amazing call. So, yeah. So like I said, my and or if yesterday, which is what I always give out, is if we reject off of our 21 SMA and we get that bearish engulfing candle, ride that down. That's exactly what we did, and you can see here on our indicators, right? So this was a call from Wednesday, right, around 3:30. So we typically aren't trading that late into the market anyways. But regardless, with our rules on our indicators, I'll just kind of cover why we would not take that long. One, we have red on our divergence hunter. Two, we're way overbought, like we talk about. Three, we have a double top call here on our harmonics. And four, we have our zone tracker saying red. So everything in there tells you this is not a good one to take, right? And so this is the power of using multiple indicators together, because you create rules. Anybody that tells you I have one indicator that just wins 100% of the time, they're probably lying to you. So, a lot of times you want to have at least, two or three in there that capture different aspects, like the RSI or the support and resistance, Bollinger Band, something, right? And so that is kind of what would have avoided that one, right? So at 9:30, you can see right here, the call immediately threw a short. It did come back a little bit against it, right? But again, if you're playing through the rules, you wouldn't have taken it right here anyways. You would have took it up here off the rejection from the 200. Likely, I think I entered mine right about here because I seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rejections off of it. Saw a bearish candle and I entered it, and bam, it just went down, right? So Sorry. Let's talk about the support. If y'all remember when I said, if we break this level of support, right, we're likely to come down into this levels. Typically, either this one here is the first level to look at. I think I trailed mine and stopped it out somewhere around here. I didn't get the full bottom, but it's no surprise that we bounced right here because you can see this was prior support right there. So, being able to identify that, how would you know to flip it, right? Well, once you start to see these growing candle bodies getting a little bit larger, right? You could try to take that long. Me personally, I didn't take this call. I'm the type that if I see a big fall like this, I want to wait and see how it's going to regain its steam. And you can see right here, we actually had it push up, we had it pull down, we had it push up, had it pull down. Immediately, right about here, right, I had noticed we had a bear flag forming, right? And so in the room, on the trading floor, you'll be able to see, let's see where it is. We were talking quite a bit yesterday. Um, let's see. I don't want to hold up the call, but we called the bull flag in the bear flag in the room. Francisco, I know if you're on here. I know you ended up getting that one. Um, but yeah, so we'd called this bear flag in the room, right? I actually took this bear flag literally right when I saw this back crab call. Even though we were in a long, I was totally cool with taking a put because when you add up what tells you to take it and what tells you not to take it, this tells you not to take the put, but we're in the middle, so we got some room to go up, sure, right here, right, by the time the long called it. And so it already kind of went up. We got our red call and we were over bought. So if you think about it, right here we're over bought. We have the red from the zone tracker. We have prior support turned resistance, which is a common thing, right? And you have the back crab call, as well as you have the bearish candle pattern, right? So you got right here, you got your confirmation, and bam, there it goes. And so all you need is typically this confirmation, the candle pattern, the break of the 200 EMA, the close on it, and then bam, write that down. So that was a really quick trade. Those are the two trades that I took today. I did not continue to ride this down. I wish I did. But I didn't. The ATA did. Some people did really well writing that down. So now, keep in mind, and I'm spending a lot of time on the spies, but that's okay. Keep in mind, we had started to see some bullish divergence starting to pop up here, and right, and the indicator caught it early. So you can see here it had the bullish divergence. It flipped green right before market close. I did not take that call before market close, but you could have, right? I mean, you have heavy green support here on our zone tracker. You got some room to go before you get to the 200. You got the divergence calling the strong bullish. We did not get our long call yet, right? That's the only thing that's not there, but we're blue on our gap fill right here. So a lot of things are saying that you could have taken that trade. And you can see in the pre-market, I mean, you'd have been in massive profit. I personally did not take that. I'm not gonna tell you I take trades that I don't. But I'm sure some people in the room, that know how to play these rules. I mean, look, you even have a deep crab right before market close. Possibly caught that. So if you did, awesome job. So that's kind of the day. Like I said, I love to recap the day there. So I was gonna jump out of it. I spent a lot of time on that. So I'm going to try to zoom through these, but I'm going to spend more time on what's next for the SPY. So let's look at the SPY. Let's go back to the extended hours so we can see the full candles. There we go. All right, so what y'all know yesterday on the 1 hour, what I've been talking about is, we have this kind of shoulder, head, and then I'm looking for a shoulder type pattern. So there's a few ways that this can play out that I'm going to be watching, right, which are going to be key. One is we are literally retesting the 21 SMA right now. Remember we talked about we broke it, we rejected, bam, that was the rejection from yesterday. Now we're finding support, which, now that we zoom out, right, it's easy to see. It's no surprise that we wicked right here and then shot up, because if you look at this wick, it coincides with resistance, right? I mean, I can go back and find other stuff too, but I mean, you can just literally see right there, you have 1 and you have 2, because this was a hard rejection, points of resistance, so that acts as support. And this is what I was mentioning about, how you can identify to flip to that call if you're able to see that early enough, right? And so currently on the 1 hour, we are still purple on the top, which is typically more bearish sentiment. We are climbing a little bit, so we're kind of in the middle in the RSI. Nothing really to show us there. The key I'm going to watch for on this pre-market over the next hour and a half is, do we break this SMA? If we break it and we begin to hold with some strength, and you can see the candles, right, moving up if there's some strength, then I'm okay with trying to take that call to ride it back up to the 456. I'm more hesitant on taking the calls right now. I'm okay with not, especially today, guys. I mean, today's Friday. I'll be honest with you, I probably won't even trade today. The only way that I will place a trade today is going to be if I believe this pattern is playing out. So if I see something like this, I see us push up somewhere about here, right, 455 or so, which would coincide to this prior resistance level, and I start to see us lose steam, right, and then get a little little mini double top or something going on like this. This is when I'm going to try to probably enter that put if all my indicators line up telling me, yeah, you're good to take that put. Because what could happen from here is you can see, so this would be, market close would be somewhere around here, right? I'm not a fan of letting them go over the weekend. So if it ends up that it doesn't play out anything until market close, I probably just won't take it. I'll just let it run, right? But this could be something, that it could set up a pump, for the weekend. And then the interesting thing, I'm just going to mark it right there. The interesting thing is, remember, there's people trapped likely up here in calls. There's people trapped right here in puts, and it's Friday, right? So you might actually have us drive up a little bit today, but not far enough to get these guys out, right? But far enough to continue to trap and kind of put some fear in these guys. And so as it comes up, that's when we're going to find it. It's going to range, and you'll probably end up closing somewhere in this range, around 453 or 54. Now, the caveat to that is, if they have enough people trapped in their calls and they don't need to drive it up that high, right? Then, if they need to clear some of that liquidity, then we may not even see that, right? You could see, there could be something like this, where we come up like this, we can't break this 21 SMA, and then we come over like that. Now, if you look at this, we're still a head and shoulder, right? It's just the neckline is going to be very different. So you can take kind of this bottom wick and this bottom wick like that, and this is your neckline. Head and shoulders, a lot of people get confused because they want to see that perfect head and shoulder, right? And it doesn't always have to be perfect. And so you could literally have something like this today, right? This would be about 3 o'clock where it would hit it around 452, and then this would be the neckline. Now they have the two trapped, and then over the weekend, come Sunday when market opens or whatever, on the after hours, that could be the fall that just absolutely destroys these guys. So that's kind of what I'm watching on the SPY. As far as our high goes, I don't see us getting above 455. Maybe at best case scenario, a retest of 456.38. But I don't know that I see that without some news to push that up. I just don't see us getting that high. So what you could watch. Hold on, I had this. Trying to delete it. There you go. What you could do, how you would know, is I'm going to take a line from here, and you can see it's already kind of like built in for that squeeze, right? So you got rejection here, rejection here, rejection here. You're coming down, you got some rejections there, and then we're literally testing it. So your end or if scenario today is, if you break this line that you just drew with some volume, wait for the retest, and then if you start to see that support come in again, right, somewhere in here, then you can take that call for a quick scalp. If you see it not break this line and we fall all the way back down to the 452, and we break this lower line that we have here now, get the retest and ride that put, right, which is going to be around 452 or so, something like that. Because again, I keep talking about it, we're probably at some point next week we're going to come down and retest this 200 EMA. I mean, it could even be today, right? So the low that I have is, somewhere around 447, 448. If you get down there, you're going to want to squeeze your entry and then close that somewhere in there. If you're in profit, I'm going to tell you right now, don't be greedy. If you're in profit come 2, 3 p.m., right, and it's pretty good profit, just close it. Don't be. I can't tell you how many times people will tell me, "Oh man, I'm in like $500, $600 profit," and then they're like, "I think we're going down farther. I have a 7 day contract. I'm gonna let it go through the weekend." And then Sunday market opens and it just rockets north, and they Monday I'm like, man, you made good money on that trade. Oh, I didn't close it. I'm negative now. But I'm okay. I got 4 more days, and then now they take a $600 profit, turns into probably like $1,000 loss because it's just going against them now, right? You don't know, and a lot of things happen over the weekends. Typically on Sunday, it's when you hear the news that rocks the market. Like something bullish or super bearish, or you just don't know. I mean, you could take a call Friday at in a market, and Sunday, China invades Taiwan, right? And next thing you know, the market's just freaking dump, and you're screwed. So it's just not worth it over the weekend. So all right, so let's jump into. We spent a lot of time on that, but the good news, we have a little time. I'm not going to cover too much on the ATAs today because we're actually not going to be trading the ATAs likely today. Tasty Trade and us, are kind of working together, but they have a little bit of an issue of with the connection on that, and so some of their safety protocols are kicking up while we're initiating some trades. And so they're working through that. So I don't need to spend too much time on the ATA, but I will at least talk about the day that it would have had, right? Because the code is the code. So, but let's go into Apple. So Apple, we talked about this yesterday. Had this ridiculous candle here. My anticipation is that with this was that your end or if, right? Remember we talked about it. I think the market opened. Trying to find it right around here, right? Yeah, I'm on the 1 hour. So, but it was in this candle here. So my end or if on this was, if we continue to hold above this and we break, with some volume that we're going to break up, and then my end or if for the put, which keep in mind, full disclosure, I told you all are nuts if you're taking calls on Apple right now when it was up here anyways. And if you did, you're likely stuck. So hopefully you listened. You can see it was instant rejection from that. And, guys, you can, sometimes it's funny. We try to give as many calls as we can, right? But there's a lot of trades that I will be able to get in there that maybe I can't call as quick because they happen fast. But what we try to do, we're big on teaching you how to fish, not just throwing you fish. And, if you take this line here and you just pull it up like that, right? That's literally all you need to do. Once you see this open and it hits it and you get an instant rejection, this is your cue to get a quick, nice little put scalp, right? Because, just a simple line like that. And you can just set a, if you want to play a tight stop loss, just set a tight stop loss either right above this wick, because I'm sure this was a wick out for a stop loss. And if it doesn't wick up again, right, you're likely to have a really good trade. So just kind of a quick way to get some scalps. Again, we scalp in our room. So, this right here, the way that we trade, this is like a probably $700-800, maybe $1,000 trade, just this little movement, right, in a matter of like 10 minutes. And so where's Apple going from here? My end or if, just looking at this, again, you can see, aside from this ding dong wick here you got here, you had a nice higher wick, but we're still getting lower highs on the RSI. So it's starting to show a little bit of weakness. We are below the 21 SMA, but it's just trying to break it on the 1 hour. So if we stay below the 21 SMA and we get a bearish confirmation candle, right? Which, what does that mean? When you have your bearish confirmation candle, you're looking for, your push up, your close on the bearish confirmation, boom, you're coming down, you enter it, right? And you ride that down. That's what you're looking for there. So you don't want to just, oh, I see red, enter it, right? Because red, if the candle's not closed, it's not closed. It can turn green real quick. So we did find a lot of support in here, right? So we could get a market open push as high as 194.53. Heck, it could literally, again, like I just said earlier, maybe I'll just leave this line. You can take this a line like this, I would probably do it more like that, because of the wick. This way you have 3 touch point, 4 really with that. And you kind of have like this wedge form, right? So if we explode past this right here and we hold this support, you could get a quick scalp probably up to 196, maybe 197. I would trail it tight though, and do a stop loss, because if I'm telling you, when it rejects like this, you won't have time to get that water filled. It just won't, and you're gonna get trapped. So have a trailing stop loss. Now for the bearish side of it, you can kind of see you got a little roundness here. You got your kind of double top head, looking there, right? So we could only reach 194.26 or so. If you see it beginning to lose steam and you break below the 21 SMA with that bearish confirmation, ride that put down, right? You're likely going to see a reclaim of this side like that. So that's the play I would do for Apple. I'm going to skip some of them, but the zone tracker on this, guys, I love the skull and the suns, but I have so much on my chart I have to mute those because they're just a little bit too much. But they're really, it's kind of like our training wheels, right? Because it helps the people that are new kind of identify where we're at with it, but I don't need those. All right, so Google, if you look at here, Google opened up somewhere around here. If y'all remember on the and or if scenario with Google, we did talk about how the fact that it did kind of have this falling channel here. This is a nice put opportunity here because you had a break. We had our fractal. It rejected here. You could have entered, got a nice little put scalp there. And then it found support, right? So I always like to look, okay, well, what made it find support? Well, if you put a line somewhere in here, I mean, it's pretty easy to see. You got support here, you got some support here, you got support there, support here, support here. I mean, you can continue to go on, right? Support here. I mean, it's not a hard line to put to know, hey, I need to close that put and flip to a call, right? Now, where is it going to go from here? We do have the death cross here on the 1 hour. It is trying to break this SMA. So the and or if is if we open bearish, and it gives a bearish confirmation candle, that's a rejection off the 21 SMA. You're likely to be able to scalp a put at least to 118, to get a nice little quick scalp. I would just be really cautious around here because it's going to find some pretty heavy support here around 118 or for sure around 116. So just make sure you're trailing that tight with a stop loss, because you can see here where the wick is a shot from 118 right back to 119.35, like pretty quick. Now for the bullish side of it, for me, I'm not going to take a call unless I get above the 200 because there's just not enough gap. I have taken calls below the 200 if there's enough gap between the 21 SMA and the 200, because that's if it breaks this is likely the next rejection point, right? So but I don't like this gap, so I would not take a call on this unless we break above 121.75, maybe even 122, right? I'd want to see a break above 122, so hold it as support, and then you can ride that call up. So let's go to Microsoft. So Microsoft, we talked about this bull flag. You can see that the line that we took, was slightly off, right? Which we knew because we were basing it off of this wick here, this one here, which is holding there, but we also missed that, right? You can adjust your line, but my only thing I tell people when I'm teaching them is your lines are not, they don't have to be perfect. You always want to be looking to adjust your line so that to see if there's something that you're missing, right? Now, see if I go down here and I put it like that, right? I mean, it's kind of an ugly looking channel at this point, right? So this was a break, likely a retest of support on the 200, which it basically pushed it north. As far as the Microsoft push, again, my and or if is if we can break this white line and hold support on this yellow line around 351.68, I would take that call because it's going to be a really big push. I mean, you're going to push it probably up to around 360, 365. But I would not take a call unless you're up in this area around 352. As far as the puts go, honestly, you're in a squeeze. There's not enough room to go to the 200. I mean, a little bit. We could drop back down to around 345. But again, now you have the 200, you have heavy support in here. It's going to get a bounce, potentially. But Where I'm looking to take a put is if we actually break below 344, maybe hit 342, come back up, and then take that put on the rejection, right? Once support turns resistance, that's when you're going to want to take that put. But again, Friday, I just caution you, don't be too aggressive. Amazon does not surprise me, this pattern. Remember we talked about Amazon having this potential double top. It looks like the double top played out. Be careful with Amazon, guys. This is the double top, and this is the retest of the neckline that we're literally at right now. What does that mean? Well, if we get an explosion past this 200 or 21 SMA, and it can explode up enough, I'm talking like 133, 134, and it can come down again and find support on this area again, then this whole thing is invalidated. So this one's going to be a little bit of a weird one. So if you want to take that call, I would suggest you to be honest with you, I would just suggest that you don't. If it pumps up like this and you miss it, that's totally fine, right? You have so many opportunities here for a potential rejection. You also have two peaks now that you can pull down from there. So you could let this thing just ride all the way up, hit this, and then bam, ride that sucker all the way back down. Now, if you zoom out like this, right, and you can see our zone tracker is just picking up so much support here, right, which it is right here. So if you zoom out, if this double top does break, right here, it cannot hold, it's almost certain that it's going to come down here, right around 127. So that's the put I would ride. I would definitely trail it pretty tight as it gets close to that, because you can see here it's had just some pretty big bounces along the way. I only got about 4 minutes, so I'm only going to cover Tesla on this one. Tesla. I'm sorry, I just laugh. I hope y'all caught some of this yesterday, because I I'm actually gonna start. I think I might start trading freaking Tesla. I don't trade Tesla a lot, as y'all know in the room. I trade mostly SPY, but this one ended up a good call, right? So we talked about this was Wednesday. We talked about the rejection, the end or if. Let's see, Thursday market open was somewhere in here. And my end or if that I had put out with Tesla is let me find the candle. I think it was this one right here, right? So my end or if was if we reject off of the 279 and we broke a candle below the 200 EMA, closing that, right, you can enter that put. We're on 275, and you can see we actually fell all the way to 260 before getting in a bounce. So let's zoom out and see why we bounced around there. So you can see around 260s here. So we had some prior resistance level. This is an interesting spot because I get this question a lot. The bigger bounces typically happen on areas that were not only once support, but was once support and resistance, right? Those are the strong ones typically. So you can see here what was resistance flipped to support. We rocketed north. So it's no surprise that once we hit that area, right, we get a nice little rocket north. If you caught that call, man, that you had a good eye so to catch that. I mean, that's from 260 all the way to 269, pretty much almost within an hour. So pretty amazing. So what's next for Tesla? I like to when in doubt, zoom out kind of thing. So let's take a look and see, is there anything else we can see? So I can try to take this line. Let's adjust. So we had that up there. We already broke that. If I pull this here, I'm gonna adjust this line just to see if we break it. And the reason why is because I have this here and I have 2 wicks there. I'm no longer using that because we broke it. So let's see if that's viable to where we are. And it looks like it is. So you can see we broke that, but we reclaimed it instantly, and now we're holding it as support. So if this white line continues to hold support, and I flip my 21 SMA, you could likely take a call up to around 276, 279, somewhere in here. Now, if we break 265, right, and we start to see that bearishness, I want to say I would take a put, but honestly, I would be a little cautious still because, we do have that heavy support here, which is, would be considered heavy resistance. So you can probably get a nice little put scalp. just be careful from these landmine pumps, right? People are very bullish on Tesla, and we were way oversold here on the 1 hour, right? So we still have a lot of room, and it just flipped green, so there's a lot of room to go up versus down on Tesla. So I'd be really careful taking that put. If you miss this train here, I would just give it a minute, especially on a Friday. I don't mind being a little more aggressive on a Monday because I got time, right? I have some days to figure it out, but I'm not aggressive on a Friday. So, for Tesla, I would probably be looking more call if it continues to hold support here, because there's just so much resistance in here that turned to support, which is now above turning support. So, this line right here is going to be huge, 265. If you're below that, you can take a put scalp. If you're above that, find your entry for your call. Let's just take a quick peek at the dollar. We're gonna go a couple minutes over today, but that's okay. Dollar, I didn't even really look at this yet this morning, but we've been talking about it, right? So it came down, we found our support, we had our double touch, we came up, retested, pumped up. I mean, this is like basics of trading, right? And so my anticipation yesterday, if y'all go back, you can watch the recording. The and or if we come up and we lose steam here and reject, we're going to come back down here to retest. That will give a very bullish push in the markets. Now, my bullish scenario for the Dixie at the time, you can look back at yesterday's, was we had our double touch, we were retesting. I said if we can hold this and we can break with some steam, right? Which, look at these candle bodies. I mean, just massive. It's going to break that. And what I had mentioned is if we come down and we retest this as support, which we did, not only on the 200 but on the 21, right? So we have our golden cross. Look at the Dixie and look at, we did our death cross at 103. We have not golden crossed or even came close to it since then. So now we're back into that potentially bullish golden cross. So because we had our double bottom, we had our retest, we exploded, we retested the 21 SMA. As long as this stays above the 21 SMA, it's going to be bullish. It's going to continue to push. So my bearish scenario for the Dixie is it's just got to break that 21 SMA on the 1 hour. Otherwise, we're just going to reclaim this side. That's what I said yesterday. So if we stay up here, we break it, we retest it, we're going to get a reclaim of this side here. So the next level of rejection for the Dixie, I would say this would be a hurdle it would have to get over, would be something like this. So we'll mark that line there. It's going to be a hurdle because it was prior support in that area. So, and then the next one you could do would be something more localized like that, right? Just this one here. And so if it can break, if it breaks this, it's almost certain it's going to reclaim the rest of this side here. So that's what I would watch. Bitcoin, I don't have to spend a lot of time on Bitcoin. It's just literally doing nothing, almost exactly what we talked about. So you can see Thursday market open, right, was up here, 30,002. We had talked about the and or if scenarios of Bitcoin. The and or if was if we stay below this 200 and we have a confirmation type candle, then we're going down to retest this area, which is exactly what we did. We had a nice little push up, but not really very strong so far. There is a little bit of a kind of a double bottom feel playing out here on the 1 hour. So I would there's a little bit of a pattern or trend line that's kind of standing out to me right now. Let's just draw it out. So if you take a line, something like this, right? If we break above 29,893 and we reject off of 29,948, catch that retest, and then you can ride that back up to about 30,001 or 30,002. But that could be pretty bullish if that hits. Also, it'll be just how it was here, right? See how you have the pump, the retest, and then the real pump came. Now, for the bearish scenario, is keep in mind we have the 21 SMA and then we have the 200. If it goes below the 21 SMA once more and it begins to squeeze and you see that bearishness come in, that once this breaks, I've been talking about this for like 2 weeks now, but once this once this level breaks, if it can't hold 29.6, I mean, it has a long way to fall for a reclaim. I mean, probably like 28.7 or so before it even gets any kind of support. But I have a low of like 27K that I think we're going to hit. So could we have one more oscillation back up to 31.6? Sure. But we're definitely going to come down to that at some point. So, and you can refer to the daily, look at how that's kind of panning out. Again, when in doubt, zoom out and you look at the resistance we had here. You had tons of resistance still, and we're just hanging on to a cliff right here. So it could have one more little push up before it comes down, which would put our low then around 28, right? So it depends when we hit this. I'm watching the 200 here on the daily, and we talked about this yesterday. This could push up one more time, and it could drive this up like this. And then sometime in, I mean, you look at this as like end of July, like early August, right? Could be when we have that fallback. The only thing I don't like is obviously we do have that bearish divergence, and we have 1, 2, 3 points where you have 1, 2, 3 points. So, without the news to push it up, I think it's hanging on by a thread. So just be really careful on that one. This was the ATA. I'm 5 minutes over, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but this is the plays that it would have did. I changed my settings so that I think it messed that up. Let me look and see. So this is the calls that we would have taken, right? This is Tuesday. Let me go. Where's Thursday? Okay. Yeah, so this is the call that would have taken on that. And then the puts would have been... Yeah, so here the puts, this was the DCA one that we had. It ended up coming out and it ended up getting out in profit here, and it would have taken a really nice one right there. And some of you actually got it, some of you didn't, which is why I say would have. The secondary put that I was running did really well. It took 2 trades. I had one here, and this one actually did really well. I think it got stopped out on this one right here just before it. So TP, I think 3 or something like that. So the code's there, right? We're just, those I mean, we're only about a few weeks into options trading with the ATA. So anytime we create a new partnership with these exchanges, it's they all have their rules, and as much as we try to anticipate as good as we can what their rules are to ensure that the connection is there. Tasty Trade has their own security rules that we're finding out that we're just blocking it on our site. That's some code that we added last night before it even gets to that point. So just be patient with that. Y'all have seen the power of how much you can make on it once these hit like this. We're gonna get that all sorted out. So appreciate your time. I'm like 7 minutes over. So I'm gonna let y'all go. And again, appreciate your time today. I hope that helps y'all out trading. My last kind of parting advice is it is Friday. Do not push trades. I always suggest be done by noon. Unless you're stuck in something, then you got to make that decision. So, I'm not a big fan of 0 days. So if you're going to take a call or put, I would recommend doing at least maybe 4 or 5 or 7 day, right? Even to give yourself some time and to next week. So, hope that helps you out. You guys have a great day.